Hello everybody to Testers Tower Live, where we learn to be a better tester. This is a retake of a previous episode where we talked about testing, and specifically tour-based testing of Testability tour. That was going on live, where we talked about how and what is Testability tour, how to identify features that help us test things. We used the Path of Exile game for that, which is this one, what is currently running here. And I just wanted to revisit this with better graphic options and possibly a better introduction to testability as such. Now that we're running here around, I just wanted to briefly introduce the game. It is actually an indie development game as a successor to Diablo 2. I know that Diablo 3 is out and is very popular and everything, but this is in essence, well, a bit more of Diablo 2 than Diablo 3 is, because of the whole passive skill setup, that you can be a lot of different things rather than what Diablo 3 offers, where you can only do a set of examples that you've been given, and you can't really make your own build as such as you can do here with all the gemstones that give you different skills and the level up giving you passive abilities. So it has more depth in my view. But why is that important? What kind of game this is? It's just simple another game, and we're doing about testing. But it is important to understand what's really important. This is the context part. Why do we need to test some things? What are important for this game that aren't important for another game? I'm not going into this very thoroughly because it doesn't matter for our brief discussion of testability. And I'll just show you around what there is to see here. This is the main hub area. Every instance is, every level of fighting is instanced. Unless I take a party with me, I'm alone in there, so I'm only with other people here. So this is a sort of MMO, but only a sort of, but it's running live into the internet. When we go back to the testability tour thing, we see that we are writing here that it means finding all the features I can use as testability features and or identify tools that I have available that can be helpful in testing. What this means for this game and for this testing purposes is that I'm looking for in-game features that can help me test in-game stuff. For example, because this is a beta, closed beta, I can press F1 and I can get these kinds of statistics, like the frame time that's running. It's sort of like ping, the FPS that I'm running, latency from the server, about my movements and everything, and of course server time if there's anything wrong with that. So, but this is a beta thing. This won't be available in game, I'm pretty sure. For other things that I cannot test are internal calculations and such, which probably are in there in the development version, that they can see all sorts of other statistics, hit point calculations, random event calculations, all sorts of things, plus or resource management, what the game engine does, and all sorts of things like that. But this is what I don't have because, well, I'm using the beta client. But now, what do we have here? In order to see the testability, we'll just have to go through the game the way it is and see what kind of features we do have and what we can use for testing. For example, if main thing in this game is doing damage, of course, so hitting your enemies with different skills that I have. Let's take an enemy. I can just use standard hit or some skill which is called Glacial Hammer, or a skill which is called a double hit. I'll run away from them so I can show you what this is all about. In order to understand how much damage I do, because that's the main thing in the game, I'll go to my weapon and see that I can see the stats of it, how much damage it does. It's 5 to 7, its attack speed isn't actually mentioned there. Oh yes, there it is. Attacks per second, 1.2. If I go to my skills, I can see their TPS, their mana cost. All these things, all these stats help us to test, to to see how quickly an enemy falls and if it's actually accurate, and if one weapon that should be quicker and doing more damage is doing it or not. My character panel also gives me a statistics about my character. It's a neat way to seeing all sorts of things about my skills, what I have. I don't have to go looking for them here or setting my skills somewhere else, and they just are calculated here in a neat way. Also about some other things that I might have, I can always use this data for my testing calculation, so I can calculate things by hand and seeing if that makes sense or not, or just does it feels quicker or more damage dealing as it should or not. The same applies to all sort of tooltips information that I can use. Of course, these handy tooltips give me information about my quick bar setup and if they do things that are intended, if I have equipped them accordingly. Also the information that our hotbar here for potions and stuff. That doesn't matter so much because I don't really know how to use it very well for testing something, but at least if I press them really quickly, do they work? But that doesn't give you much information on testing this. Let's see, a map I can use to see if it actually shows me where I am. I can move it around a bit, but yeah, it might give me information for testing how the map looks and if it corresponds to what the map really is. If the map feature works as it should. I have to kill them again. Also, the attack speed helps to understand if clicking really quickly does make me attack quicker or not. Do the attack speeds actually are important or not? All sorts of things can be seen from the stats. Also, the mana numbers are fine. Life shield, if the damage they do, the creatures are doing what they should and how much. It would be easier if I were using special items that I have with specific damage, so I would know that okay, this in combination with that thing does more or less, or the way what it should do. What else do we have in the game? I don't have much skills to show you. There are some items that have different variants and have different combinations, so they add to some skills and that, but you can use manual calculation to get that information and see if it does it okay or not. What else do we have here? We have sort of options that give us something, might help us in calculations. Desync, it could help, but they don't give us much on that. What there is, okay, we can use what kind of graphics cards we're using and see if it's changing these options actually change the picture, but they are not giving us much on that. On testability, show corner map, top right corner, this gives me a new map and I can correspond it to this. Now this doesn't show me, it shows me some map info, monster level, default league, what we're doing, some information what's going on, and in special cases does it load the correct character or the correct level. If I get a disconnect or something like that, I can just use that to see if I'm in the correct place as I should. And if I close this map, another one opens, and that place actually corresponds quite well to where I am if I'm in very test place. On this map I'm almost at the same place as I'm there, so it seems to be mapped quite fine to the same place. Okay, corner map, auto map transparency, yeah, you can see what it does there, it doesn't really matter. Highlighting items, key pickup, this doesn't give me much more information on testability as such. What else we could do is we could go into the files and see if it does generate a log file or something in specific instances, and see if there's anything we can use there. I don't know if there's much more to show you. Now, we could just run around and see if the frames and lag times increase or have any spikes if I have more enemies around me and they do more things, because the graphics and game is more loaded. But this is more of a test of a game engine, but this gives me information, depending on what I'm testing. That's the case. Yes, there are quite a lot of them. Luckily I can just run away from them, unless I run into a corner like this. But in this early level it doesn't matter much, because they don't do much damage unless I'm caught by all of them. That's also a thing you can test, of course, but it doesn't matter much, because that's a different thing and that's not interesting for us in the testability way. We can just run away from them. Mostly they will stay back there, it doesn't matter. What else there is? I can go back to town and show that there are other features that can be used. There's a chat here somewhere. I'll go to town. I'll get away from the mobs. You can interact with other people by pressing them. It doesn't give you anything, but if you use tab, now there's a chat here that you can talk to other people. There are some commands that can be used that give us information, like if I select an item and then type item level, then it shows me that this is an item level 1. This is a cool way for testing if the dropped items from different levels in different areas do actually drop the correct items. If those are from that area that you can see from tab, it says what level. Of course it doesn't say in that town because it doesn't matter here. That's huge. Those item drops are very important for this game, because they should be in accordance with the area and your character level and the difficulty rating and so on. So those are very important in that aspect. There are other things. We can chat to some NPCs. They shouldn't give much information regarding this. There is also a waypoint that I can run into, but I don't think it actually gives me anything in testing wise. Nice legend, that areas that I know, of course, that's okay. If I press shift here, no, control, it doesn't give me anything important here right now, so I can't show that. It should give me some instance management, but doesn't. That helps me recreate some instances and give me the information about them. That also could help testing instance generation and degenerations if I've gone out of the instances, because I came back here, but I wasn't away for long enough time, so it stays the same. It doesn't reset. Through the instance management system I can reset it automatically and see if it actually does that, and get information about that and see how it goes. How it actually does that. So that's another sort of testability feature. For other tools for game, we could use any resource management tool, Windows Task Manager for example, to see if there are any performance spikes, or if it does unload the memory, if it uses more, and just go from there if there are any problems. That's a sort of tool, but it's not a testability feature in the game itself. I don't know if there's anything else I want to talk about this thing, because the testability in this is quite limited. It gives us some good tools for testing it, but not much. There's a lot of things we would have to calculate by hand. It could do better ways for us, because, for example, the creatures do not show the health bar in numbers. They just show a bar that goes down if I attack it. If they would show numbers, then we would see how much damage I did, and if that actually is according to what I should do. What can be done, of course, is some items have special abilities that do damage to attackers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever number. Then we could just see how much the bar has gone down and calculate, okay, that creature should have a life of 50 because it went down like 1/10 when it attacked me and I did damage, etc, etc. And of course my damage is here something and something. I could calculate this, but that would make it easier for me, for anybody testing if it actually is okay or if it's too much or too little. Other things that can be used for testing in here: how quickly I run through a level to see if if it's too hard or too easy or too difficult. But that it's balancing thing, it's very hard to know. Maybe I was just playing it badly or playing the character wrong or had wrong equipment. It's very hard to analyze that, but that's a thing that can be done. Also about the loot, the items that I find from the chests, what are in there, and if there are any, or what level they are and how good they are and things like that. That can be used to determine if the level is correct. The zoom feature, like this, can be used, I guess, to investigate if the map, and like this, has any problems setting up the textures. Currently it has, because I see behind the textures, like the empty places. Oh, that's a mob boss giving me damage. This new spell effects. This should give us a bit more information how it handles more load, or, well, if my computer handles the load it throws at me. I'll try not to fight with it because it'll just probably kill me right now, because I haven't set up this character very well. I'm just doing this for testing purposes. And I guess this is about it. There are probably more stuff to do later on when you get more items, specific items that can be used for testability. But for this brief look at what testability is and what it does, this is actually pretty okay. There's a burn feature that goes on. If you get hit by fire damage, you'll be burning for a while. That's also been negated by some of the passive skills, and well, you can see if they work and how they work from there. Let's see if I can do anything to that character. Not. I need to be healing a bit. There's a lot of minions. I think I actually killed him. Oh, now I'm being hit by all of them. I'll try to get out of them and end the stream there. But that was a brief look on testability and what does it mean to be testability touring a black box software. It's quite nice, it's quite easy, but testability by itself doesn't give us much. We need to understand what we're using it for. That gives us the best notion on what to look for in looking for testability features. That would give us extra information. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a bit more clear sense what a testability is, or testability tour. And I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching, and good night.